Prepaid call from
Rob.
an inmate at Stafford Creek Correction Center. This call will be recorded and monitored.
Hey, y'all, this is Rob back with the Robb Report, courtesy of Filthy Rags Outreach. Hey, y'all, it's been a minute. I apologize, but we got COVID-19 running wild up here in the Stafford Creek. As y'all know, I'm reporting from the prison. And so I was one of the first ones to catch the COVID. And so they took me off the main line for a while. They put me in the gym with like 300 people. We were sleeping on the floor. We had guys coughing. We had guys having attacks from the COVID. And God bless me. This time I didn't get as sick. Last time I thought I was going to pass away. And this time it was kind of like it was a better experience for me altogether, and it wasn't a good experience for other people. And they actually had us also mixing there with guys with TB. I told you guys, I reported a while back that we got TB up here. It's been on the news. I don't know what's going on. It just feels like prison is a place to come and they package you up to die. Basically, is how I kind of feel. So I just want to put that out there. But I just thank God for my experience. I feel like He had me blessed. And I really feel good. I'm feeling in good spirits today, so I'm probably going to talk a few minutes before we get this thing started. Alfonso Bell, I don't know if you guys watch TMZ. Most people don't, but his daughter was on TMZ this week. And, she had reached out to J. Cole, and J. Cole actually had came to her prom. So shout out to J. Cole, because, you're really representing for the rap. And she's been through a lot, and I think she really expressed that to him, and he showed up for her prom. So I just wanted to say shout out to you, J. Cole. You know what I'm saying? You're a good look for the rap community. Now also I wanted to give a shout out to my homegirl Lauren in Texas, she's been doing time with me for about 10 years and really giving me a lot of good advice. And she watches the show, she listens and everything. And one of the things she told me is she said for me not to get too mad and address my haters, and while I respect that, I have to address something, because I got people out there that won't address me personally, but will say to other people that our show that we glorify crime, and I'm just not spiritual enough, and so I definitely want to respond. And first off, I want to say, we don't on this show, we don't glorify crime at all. What I'd like to do is speak on stuff with a sense of credibility to educate, you know what I'm saying? Because pretty much every road leads to prison. They all lead to prison or death, in this lifestyle, and so that's what we try to put out there is that, we're going to either be in prison or we're going to be dead, and every now and then we have a little success story, you know what I'm saying? And I hope that, since I didn't die in the streets, that I can be a success story too, someday. But we definitely aren't here to glorify anything. And so one of the things I asked Jessica to do was to put my information on the JPay. So if a guy has something to say, or a girl, you got something to say, whoever it is, you can address me personally, because even when you think about what's going on in the streets, a lot of people, they hide behind their memes, and they hide behind these emails and these different things they're doing on Facebooks and bang on people, and it's it's not fair. I think that, we can agree to disagree, but I also think that, if somebody wants to be spiritual or you got something spiritual to say, come on the show and say it. You know what I'm saying? And also, I want to bring up another quote that Christine Kane said. That's my favorite lady, on TV. And she said, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the call. So whoever it is out there that has a problem with me, I would just say this, based off of that, to me, that means that, maybe I'm chosen, maybe I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But I'm doing God's work, because I'm speaking out about the crime that's going on out there. I'm not glorifying anything. Last week, there was 200 something murders throughout the United States, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't happy about none of that. So we want to speak out about that and just prayers to the families for that. We had this weekend, and I was telling the brother, we had 10 people get killed in Buffalo, New York, because allegedly some dude decided to drive 3 hours and killed 10 black people at a supermarket in Buffalo, and my thoughts and prayers go out to those families, we're not here to glorify any of that stuff. One of the things that at Filthy Rags that we've always said is that we want to be in position to try to pay for people's funerals for senseless acts of violence and different things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So like, we've asked for donations and different things in the past, and like that's what we want to use some of our donations for, is to help people like that. People that, these people went to the supermarket, to go buy food for their families and stuff, and they lost their lives. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with that assessment, about the spirituality and the different things like that. And what I can say for myself is that I brought myself to prison. But prior to coming to prison, I had a job. I worked for Ford Motor Credit, but I also spent the rest of my life outside of my job into the streets. So like, I'm definitely connected with the streets. You know what I mean? And so even though I ran with the Crips, uh, I got friends that are Bloods. I got friends that are Gangster Disciples. I got friends that are Norteños. I got friends that are Serranos. When I was living in Detroit, I had friends that were Cobra Stones, Latin Kings, Disciples, Vice Lords. So what I'm saying is that when I do what I do it from a standpoint of credibility. When I have people come on to this show and they talk, they'll talk to me because they know I'm a credible person. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here to glorify anything. I think that my lifestyle speaks for itself, and I want to try to change the narrative out there. And lastly, I think I would say that I'm here to move the culture. You know what I'm saying? Filthy Rags is here to move the culture. We're not here to glorify the culture of the 80s, the stuff that we created. We're here to try to abolish that. You know what I'm saying? So when you listen to this, I'm just going to say this, and then I'm going to be done with my haters. We are all here to move the culture. You know what I mean? So I'm going to move on with that. But I will say that I was definitely not happy. So before I go, I just wanted to ask Jessica, did you get my message about that, about putting my information on the page so that, if people have something to say, they can just reach out to me personally and not to other people?
Yep, I'm gonna get that on the website. Probably in the next couple days. It will be under your segment where they can click on and view the podcast. You should be able to
Okay.
click on that and get all of your information so they can go on JPay
Okay.
and add you. And also, we're going to be adding some more statistics and things on the website and show, why we do and why we do what we do and why we are credible.
Thank you. And I would like to add one thing I want you to do too. I want you to add it, even if you can put it on my page or on the donation page. I want you to put something on there that talks about that whole ideology of us helping paying for people's funerals and different things of that nature, and how that would look, and how we could, if people do decide they want to start donating like that, we can put a page on there to kind of track so people can see or understand what kind of violence happened out there that we're going to get involved with, and we're going to try to help out moving forward. Is that something we can do too?
Definitely.
Okay, cool. Now I know that you've been working really hard. You and Jamie have really just been like going ham out there. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to put that out there and say thank you for your guys' hard work, because being locked up, you guys don't have to do that. You know what I mean? But I think that's a testament to, the passion that you guys have for what's going on in the streets out there as well. You know what I'm saying? So do you want to talk about some of the stuff that you're doing?
Man, you're not lying about going ham because we've really been pushing, especially since Jamie kind of came on board. She's really been helping out and pushing. Something amazing and wonderful happened today. Filthy Rags Outreach got our first grant, so today is a good day.
Right on.
I'm excited.
I love it. I wanted you to talk about something else that you and Jamie are doing as well. And we are starting to get some of the court stuff where we're going to be able to work with some of these kids directly. So I want you, I'm not here to steal the thunder. I want you to talk about it so that the people out there understand exactly what we're doing when it comes to really touching these kids that are coming out of these prisons and coming from these lifestyles.
Okay, so we've made a connection with court systems. We've got a couple referrals so far, and the whole goal is to get get guys that are facing going to prison, get them connected with Filthy Rags Outreach so that we can mentor them and show them that there is a different way. Have them come to the peer meetings, connect them with a guy that's been in their shoes to show them that there's a different way. Bring them in and, connect them with resources, find out what their needs are, because obviously there's a reason they're out there doing what they're doing, right? Maybe it's because they don't have education, or they don't have a job, or, nobody will hire them because they've got a felony, and so they're doing what they got to do to pay the bills. But our whole job is to get in there and show them that there is a different way, and bring them into the fold and help them get the services and the resources that they need.
Let me chime in real quick, Jessica, and I want to say kudos to you guys for getting these core systems and let us really get involved like that. And one of the things that I'd like to add to the people listening is that you're right on point when it's like these kids are coming from who knows, you know what I'm saying? But they'll talk to people like us that come from similar lifestyles. Most of us came up like my mom. We didn't have our father there. So she had to go out and do all the work herself. So while she was out working, that's where we was up cutting up. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't really see, like me personally, I didn't see my mom as having a lot. I saw her, even though she had to go out and work, I saw her struggling. So I felt like I needed to get out in the streets and bring a little something in so we can have clothes and different things because we didn't have a lot of school clothes, different things of that nature. But these younger kids are the same way. There's a reason that's pushing them out there into the streets. And so with Filthy Rags, we want to be able to get these young kids in here. We want to talk to them, figure out what will keep these cats out the streets. And if it's because they don't have the clothing or if they don't have the food at the house or maybe their mom don't have a job or they're struggling and they have a bunch of kids at the house or mom is on dope, different things of that nature that we're going to pull out of these guys. We're going to try to get all those resources. So again, when we tap in with the community and you guys are listening to us, those are also things that donations go to. A lot of these guys don't have the clothing or they don't have food on their table. We live in a time now where inflation is through the roof. These guys can't even fill their cars and their trucks up. You know what I'm saying? So we just want to get involved. We want to help, and we want to see what we can do on an individual basis with every kid so that we can try to provide the needs and the resources to keep these kids from out of the streets. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much where we're at, Jessica.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I was going to mention too is we have a connection now. We're going to be sitting down with King County Drug Diversion Court and talking with their case managers and letting them know about our program, and hopefully getting some referrals from the men and women that are going through that program to come to our meetings and possibly get connected with our services as well. So I'm pretty excited about that too.
Right. And we're starting to really move again. The COVID has really took us down. Like it seems like we're so far behind, but we had so much momentum 2.5 years ago. Then the COVID just kind of put us in a box. We used to have it to where we had people coming in. We had the pastor coming in. We had we basically had a room where we was doing stuff with the brothers and we were talking and we had a bunch of guys from the gang lifestyle. And so also as the COVID starts to release a little bit, we want to start putting some programs back together, back up in the prison as well, where we can bring some of the guys from the outside on the inside. So we'll definitely be needing you and Jamie to help facilitate some of that stuff. And I know you guys talked to Chris, he works with the DOC and different things like that. So we'll definitely need to pull those resources together, you know what I'm saying? So it's good that we can let the people on the outside kind of know what we're doing, because a lot of these organizations, and I don't like to talk about them, but they're not doing the work. And so we have all these people dying out there. And that's another thing I wanted to did you see where I was asking you if we can start putting some of that on the site too so people can actually get a real visual of what's going on in the Northwest, because crime is through the roof out here and people act like they care, but nothing's happening. I haven't seen any real organization step up and stop anything. But there are a couple brothers out there that have been doing some work, taking some of these guys to different states and different things like that. But even that takes money, just taking them out of the environment. But, you can't do anything without resources.
Yep, we're going to get that on the website as well. And speaking of Chris, shout out to Chris Polos. Guess who ran into Chris the other day?
Who ran into Chris?
Cyrus. He sat down. Cyrus is one of our core members from Stafford Creek. He's down at Cedar Creek now, right?
Cedar.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he ran into Chris, and they had a really good conversation about Filthy Rags Outreach. I ran into Chris Polos at an event in Bremerton about a month and a half ago and told him about Filthy Rags Outreach. So he's really excited, and he gave me the contact information for supervises the funds for reentry.
We gave him the shout out. Now he's gonna have to really come through for us. You know what I'm saying? And really show that love. You know. And so like I know you said he gave you like the contact information, but we want to still stay in contact with him because we want him to be able to get some of these guys back into the prisons. You know what I'm saying? Because we want credible people coming in here talking to these younger guys.
Yeah, of course.
Right on. Yeah. So we're moving, you know. So I think that's a really good update for the people out there. What I wanted them to know is that we got a brother, we got a really decent interview coming up with a brother that will probably never have another interview like this, but we actually have somebody that's locked up for something he didn't do. And you know, and while that sounds hard to believe, you know, I don't know, like the viewers don't probably understand, but you know, there's a saying in the streets, and it's the streets always know. You know what I'm saying? Like so, when you're in the streets, you know, and so you have a different knowledge that a court doesn't have, a police officer doesn't have, a regular civilian doesn't have. You know what I'm saying? So when something happens or somebody gets knocked off or murdered or something to that nature, just because somebody gets arrested, you can always arrest the wrong person. You know, and so this brother that we are going to have on today, we've actually had people that have actually even made statements on him that weren't true. You know, and so he's actually doing time for something he didn't do. You know, and so he should be chiming in any second. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a real overview of the type of a person that we're going to be interviewing today because, like I said, it happens all the time, but most people aren't brave enough to speak about it. You know what I'm saying? So today is going to be a really dynamic interview. It's probably not going to be spiritual. If you're looking for it to be spiritual, then you might want to go watch TD Jakes because that's not going to happen. You know, but we want people to learn. We want kids to understand that when you are involved in this gang stuff, there's a code of silence that comes with it. You know what I mean? So, like, if you see something or you know something, you have to shut up. You know, and so like with my bro Be Real, I always wonder. Like, I see him in the visitor room with his family, and then it's like I just be looking at him like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to give this whole life up, you know what I'm saying, for your guys. And then it's like, and I get it because I come from that. And then it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Your guys is going, they're nobody's going to come forward. They're just going to let you slide and do all this time, right? So it's like, it's a weird catch 22. So I think that when you guys are listening to this, you definitely want your kids, if you're a parent, you definitely want your kids to hear it, you know, because this isn't what you guys want. When you're young, you don't want to be into the gang system like this because these things happen. And then what happens if you do open your mouth? Then you endanger your family or you endanger yourself.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
So these are some of the things that you have to think about. V, what up?
Yeah.
V,
Hello?
what's up with you, bro?
How you doing, bro?
Yeah, what's good? It's Rob, man.
What's up, Rob, man? Blessings, man. I'm glad to hear your voice, brother. I appreciate you, too. You hear me?
Hey, man, listen. Hey, listen. I'm just so glad that you was able to call through, bro. So listen, I'm gonna hang up and call back. But while I hang up and call back, I want you to just I want you to introduce yourself to the people and just tell your story for a few minutes, and I'll be right back with you in just a moment.
All right, I got you. My name's Verrick Yarbrough. I'm 33 years old. Um, here to speak to the people and give some insight to my situation and speak about my story. I appreciate the opportunity. I hope that everybody is in good spirits and good health that's listening right now, man. And it's a little brief situation, brief backstory about me. I was 17 years old, and when this situation transpired, and short story shorter, me being a kid growing up in a gang-infested environment, you know, you're up against a lot of things and a lot of peer pressures in life. You end up succumbing to these peer pressures in some way, form, or fashion, just going through life. But, you know, for me personally, when it comes to the gang culture and things of that nature, it wasn't presented to me as you know, the preconceived notion about gangs is a stereotypical way that people look at gangs. It was never introduced to me in that fashion. It was just something that was around me, something that my peers was into, something that my mother, my father, my auntie, my uncles, cousins, relatives was into. So it was just a way of life that my peers and my loved ones were living. So for me, it was just pretty much a forced situation. You know what I mean? My household couldn't escape it. Going out my community, I couldn't escape it. And being originally from Chicago and moving out here young to move to the Hilltop community when it was high violent, high crime, high gang infested, me being a kid in that environment, was experiencing things, being around things in different environments and different energies. And when it resulted in my situation, I was a youth attending a youth club, and a shooting transpired between gangs, and it manifested between the gang I was from and another gang. But when it transpired, my name being on gang file and things of that nature, the police wanted to talk to me, and I was a person of interest when they wanted to talk to me, but specifically as a witness to a shooting that transpired at a club. And when they wanted to talk to me, I wasn't cooperating with them. I was 17 years old, and it was a situation that transpired around me where a shooting transpired that resulted in a murder, and I saw what happened, but I didn't have anything to say about it because the way I was raised is, you don't talk to school teachers, you don't talk to counselors, you don't talk to police officers, you don't talk to nobody, just mind your business, So, that was the culture I was raised in. So when that situation transpired and police was asking me questions, all I knew was to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, and just mind my business. So in that situation, the police looked at me as a person of interest because they assumed that I was involved in the situation because I was connected to a gang that was involved in the situation. Now, in the midst of the gang being involved in it, certain situations transpire between gangs, but it's never always a personal situation. This situation was just between two different gangs, in particular the gang that I was from. And when the police asked me, like, your gang was into it with this gang, what happened? I personally was not into it with that gang. However, my gang was, so they're like, you're a part of this gang, they're into it with this gang, so we want to know. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Short story shorter, I ended up being charged for murder and sentenced to 66 years at 17 years old. And my situation is unfortunate because I realized my silence was part of my demise. Of course, I could have said something at the moment about what I knew. Nonetheless, what I believed in, led me to not even think twice about saying anything about what I saw or what transpired. Now, I want to kind of give some insight to gang culture and the youth out there where, you have a preconceived notion and a stereotypical thought process where they make you believe that snitching to get you killed or snitching is wrong and things of that nature. But when I was introduced to that way of life, it didn't come to me in a form of a rule to a gang. It was just the way my mother raised me. And then when I started to grow up with my peers in the community and the streets and stuff like that, these individuals had the same understanding or the same demographics, the same background to where that led them that they believed in the same way, not to talk to authorities. So, when in the midst of gang culture, that is something that is called a rule or a code. But really, individuals don't really realize that the trauma that comes from black communities when they're dealing with police officers lead families to not trust authorities, not trust the system, and then they give those traditions down to their children. And I was one of those children. So it was before gang culture. It was before the stereotypical gang initiation and gang ties that that structure of the code of the streets. I believed in not snitching before I was even from a gang. Nonetheless, when I was from the gang, it was something that I was familiar with. So I know peers of mine that believe in no snitching. So I may not be from a gang, but this person's from a gang, and we relate in that way. So that correlation and that relation brings us close to each other, close in comfort, and then we may be around each other, and those things result in people being from gangs sometimes. Just being familiar or similar with things. So it's my situation is not personally I was from a gang because I hated another gang or because I loved the violence or because hate towards a certain people, person or thing. Not at all. It was just my peers or my family members and the things that I related to growing up and the things that my family taught me. So that's how I ended up in a comfort zone around gangs. To tie that into my situation, it was a gang shooting that transpired. So the detectives are looking at me like, okay, you're on gang file, you're a gang member, and you're not telling us about something that your gang was involved in. So they immediately cold pretty me as somebody trying to cover up or be silent for somebody, you know what I mean? Nonetheless, I was charged, wrongfully convicted. The police department, Pierce County, they had all the evidence of what happened in the case. They had ballistics, fingerprints, confessions of the actual shooter, the confessing to the murder, the detective discovering the evidence of the shooter confessing to the murder. They led the detective to the ballistics and fingerprints of the weapon that was used in the murder that they committed, and nothing was tied to me. None of this was presented at trial, of course. I was 17 years old, illiterate to the law. And that's just a brief backstory about my situation. I was sentenced to 66 years de facto life. And I'm trying to just give insight with my situation, for the youth, for the at-risk youth growing up in these at-risk situations in these communities, gang-infested communities. And I just want you to understand, what you're getting yourselves into. I think the biggest thing that we can focus on is individuality. You separate yourself from yourself and you clash yourself amongst a collective of people. And that's what happened to me. And although this gang was probably created years before I was even born, the history of the gang, once you are connected to that, is going to be connected to you. So that's right there puts a target on your back when it comes to the streets, when it comes to the system, and all of that. They never really give you insight to all of the things that you're up against when you're entering into a situation like that. But through my experience, of dealing with gangs and things of that nature in the street code, there's no reward in any of this. I think the reward that people want is respect or loyalty or love, or some type of connection to something or someone. And it doesn't take you sacrificing your life, your liberty, your well-being, self-respect for yourself, your safety, and your life to be a part of a collective that is not going to assist you in your life, is not going to reward you in your life, love you in your life, bless you in your life, respect you in your life. The levels of respect and the definitions of respect are misconstrued. That's what I believe. I believe that we have a misrepresentation of respect. We have a misrepresentation of love, of loyalty in the streets. And as kids growing up, being in the streets, you're not really educated in the definition of what these things mean. But you see these things being used so loosely, and it's boisterous, and kids take a liking to those things. And those things come in different forms. They come in cars, clothes, chains, shoes, money, fame, reputation. They come in different forms, and kids look to those things, but not realizing that there's a whole backstory to these definitions that these individuals that they're following up behind are believing in. So it's really the blind leading the blind, you know what I mean? And if just through my experience, if I knew what I knew now, of course I would have made a different decision, because it was just pretty much somebody telling me, hey, you're going to be from something that you're going to surrender your individuality. Forget about who you are as an individual. Forget about who your mom told you was, who God told you were, who your dad or anybody special in your life told you was. Just reclass yourself as one of us, and what you do is you become like someone else that you're probably nothing like, someone else that you only have commonalities with, such as your struggles in life. But I think the camaraderie for somebody coming together that has struggles is to get out of the struggle together and not create more struggle for themselves. And that's what we end up doing when we come together, the blind leading the blind, kids leading kids, or kids being led by older individuals who weren't taught the right way. You know what I mean? And we all get a false sense of reality when we come into these situations and these gangs and things of that nature. It's a false sense of reality. It's something that you end up sacrificing yourself for, and you end up with nothing, no reward whatsoever. So that's just a brief backdrop of my situation and my experience. But is there any question? I don't know if there's any question.
Well, let me holler at you for a sec, V.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing but respect for you. You know what I'm saying? When I look at you, you know, and you know me, I've been around, right? So like I observe people. And one of the things is everybody knows your story, right? And it sucks. You feel me? And sometimes when I used to see you, I could see some of the frustration, you know. And so I wanted to just ask real quick, like, you know, we talk about these different rivals and different things. And so what people need to understand too is that we do a lot of this crap out there, and then we come to the prisons and cats will be cool with the opposite. Let's call it the op. You know, cats will be cool. Cats will spread with these people. Cats make statements on people. And then people just all of a sudden, we ain't killers no more. We're cool with these type of people. You feel me? And so, like, I just want to just speak the truth about that to people out here, how we do these different things. And then we come to prison, and then all of a sudden it's like it's cool. We wave this flag, and we're okay with people that we weren't okay with, right? So it makes it all at the end of the day, it's not worth it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then when I see you, like, we've been to visit hella times. You're in there with your kids and stuff, but you had to forfeit a lot of your life, or you could be out there being actively in their lives. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I see that too, you know. And so I think it's important for people to know these type of things. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't think it all the way through. And you have a beautiful family, but you had to sacrifice all that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I just wanted to know if you could just speak to that for a minute. Yeah, please.
Yeah. I think you know something. Nothing. This my understanding to this is like this, man. If it's real, it's immovable. Something authentic, something genuine, right? It's immovable. It is what it is. You throw it up in the air and it lands the same way every time. You put it to a test, it's the same every time, right? Real is real. So when you enter into this topic that we're speaking about as far as gang culture, right? You're out there on the streets, they tell you this color is the color you wear, this is the street that you represent, this is everything that you represent, and this is what you're against, and this is what's against you. So you create this whole concept of an enemy in your mind. They create this whole false reality of an enemy. So then, you know, you get into certain situations in the gang life. It's killings and robbery, assaults, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? That lead to death, you know, and destruction. And you go to prison and you end up in an environment with these same individuals that are living the same lifestyle as you and the same energy as you, sacrificing their life the same as you and to the same things that you're in. So the result is they're going to end up in the same place you're going to end up in, right? So now we're all in the same place, and it's a culture shock because now you're in a place where the background, the backdrop, the backstory is different, where you have gangs and there's people who's from different gangs, but they're all black. And in prison, you have different race cultures. So when you get into prison and you was from a gang on the streets that was against another black gang, and then you get to prison, you two black gangs were against each other on the streets. You done got homies that killed his homies, or you done killed his homies, and his homies done killed your homies, or you done killed your homies on a dead. There's bloodshed across these two gangs. And then now they tell you, oh, we're pro-black, we're supposed to be together, which is telling you the truth. You know what I'm saying? Well, why did you wait until the end to tell me the truth? You could have told me that a long time ago, and I would have made a different decision in life. See, when we're on the streets, they don't tell us the truth. They're not telling us the truth. And when you get separated from the streets and what you see out there, you're kind of on your own to depict what you want out of what you're experiencing. And then you get different people that you know or don't know that give you their experience too and their opinions on what you're experiencing. Nonetheless, you're gonna experience something entirely opposite of what you were told when you began your journey in the game. So if that is the case, when you were on the streets, the realest shit that you were standing on was what the gang told you on the streets. These are your ops. This is what you're supposed to do when you see an op. This is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to carry yourself. Then you get into prison, and then it's the exact opposite. That will be called fake. But on the streets, they told you if you was to do that, that would be fake. So how is this shit real, what they're teaching you? When you end up in a situation where everything that they told you was the opposite. So if it's the opposite, then when you told me in originally, it was fake. And then what you're telling me now, this is what it is. Okay, so now I need to actually start to realize, like, hold on, if this is fake, then none of this shit can be real because something's real. Like when you have the truth, there are no seeds. A falsehood can't comprehend the truth. A lie can't comprehend the truth. You know what I'm saying? Darkness can't comprehend the light. So once you realize and you see certain things, like, hold on, if this doesn't make sense. They said that it was this, but now they're telling me it's this. If that's fake, none of this can be real. You know what I mean? So if you were so gung-ho on sacrificing your life to be real when you were on the streets that you ended up in prison or somebody ended up in the grave, you were so ready to sacrifice your life to be real. When you realize that this shit is fake, then put that same energy into breaking away them chains of that enslaved mentality that they taught you before you figured out that it was fake.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
That's right. That's
You know,
right.
so-
Hey, V.
Yeah.
All right, listen, you got 60 seconds left, right? What I want you to do is I want to meet back up and do part 2 of this next Friday with you or next Wednesday, whatever's convenient for you. But I want you to have Wifey to put a couple of pictures, send a couple of pictures to Jessica so we can put them on the website for you too. And then next week we can talk about what's going on with your court situation and continue this, figure out what we got to do to get you out this prison. You know
All right,
what I'm saying? So, bro, listen, man.
I'm listening.
No, much love to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let LG and I know we spoke too. You feel me?
Much love and respect, man. I send my love, and I'm on board with y'all, man. I appreciate the opportunity, you know.
Oh man, it's for everybody, bro. This is for us, man. You gonna be holding it down over there while we over here. You know what I'm saying? And keep JG out of trouble for me, please.